What is up, chat? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the game Pacific Drive. Also, before we get into the video, I'm really close to 2,000 subscribers, so if you could like the video and subscribe with notifications on, that would mean a lot to me. So jumping right in, Pacific Drive came out a few months ago by Ironwood Studios, and I've been waiting for this game to come out for a long time. After seeing the trailer of being able to customize your car and explore the radioactive zone with cool stuff, I was super hyped for it. But after finishing the game, I kinda have some mixed feelings about it. The game starts with exposition, telling you that in 1947, the Olympic Peninsula became the staging ground for promising new technology, and rumors spread about the weird experiments going on, and suddenly everyone had to evacuate. 8 years later, the government would wall off the area and establish it as the Olympic Exclusion Zone, and for 30 years the zone's borders would grow until the government would withdraw and seal off every access point. What happened inside was never disclosed. The game starts with you, the unnamed mute protagonist called the Driver, delivering something near the border. And for those who don't know, the Olympic Peninsula is a real place in Washington State, and is actually kind of beautiful. Right away into the intro, this game is visually beautiful. It's not the best graphics because this game would be developed by a smaller studio, but nonetheless, I think they really nailed the vibe of this game. Something about driving your car through the Pacific Northwest with just you and your radio is cool, and I enjoyed the first third of the game for this reason alone. As you get closer to the border, your radio cuts out, and you realize how serious this is, looking up at the massive wall and abandoned government checkpoint, wondering who they're trying to keep out, or what they're trying to keep in. After turning onto a dirt road, you see some electrical interference going on, until it cuts out the power to your car and sucks you into the Olympic Exclusion Zone. After being sucked in, your objective is to find transportation. After walking, you hear a voice in an abandoned car. After getting into the car, the voice on the radio tells you his name is Tobias, along with his lab partner Francis. They tell you that you need to get out of there as quick as you can, and there's only a shelter a few miles away. Tobias and Francis tell you that the car you're driving is known as Remnant, a normal thing that has strange properties from the zone and would bind itself to someone, and now the car is bound to you. After arriving at the auto shop, another voice comes on the radio named Dr. Ophelia Turner, or Oppie for short.
Who's there? The shop has been breached. You've got 5 seconds to get the hell out before I... Ow! My head. Emergency broadcast.
Hello, attention. This message is for Dr. Ophelia Turner. We sent a preacher to your garage on official zone business. Now, we have it on very good authority that this person is in possession of a remnant, which has taken the form of a car, and,
You're on the remnant thing. She's not gonna care.
right, like I said, super official zone business. Protocol, demands that you keep them alive until we can get them to safety. Now, if you do not comply, I will occupy this broadcast channel with a recitation of the entire collection of poems I've personally written. That's 10 years and 17 volumes, and...
Does that voice cuts like a nail gun to the skull? So, another breacher, huh? How do you outsiders not understand that Arda didn't build that 300-meter wall out there for fun?
She tells you to get out of her garage, as Tobias comes on the radio and informs her of the situation. She tells you she wants you to leave, but it's not that simple to get out. So she lets you use her garage so you can find a way out. After fixing up the car a little bit, you're tasked with traveling to another sector to find a radio tower. The game isn't a horror game, but it sure is eerie. And if Jacksepticeye can put horror in his title, then I could at least call it a survival horror game. After scrapping some stuff and make some more repairs, you notice that it's just you in the middle of the forest. When the radio isn't playing or the other characters are talking, you can notice the eerie ambience of the zone. During the missions, you notice that Oppie hates Tobias and Francis, only working together for the reason that Tobias and Francis want to learn about the Remnant, and Oppie wants you just to leave. For the next part of the video, I'm going to talk about the anomalies of the Outer Zone. First, we have the Abductor, which is a flying mass of junk, and if their path crosses you or your car, they will grab you and fling you into a tree. Up next is one of my favorites, the airstrip, which if your car crosses it, your car will be floating in the air for a few seconds before plummeting back down.
This game is fairly easy, to be honest. Like, I haven't had a problem with this game so far. It's kind of fun, dude. What the fuck? Oh, shit! Oh, fuck! That was close. I almost lost my cool there for a second.
The broken bunnies are a ball of scrap metal, and they will just jump up and stick to your car and just mess with your controls until you kick them off. And for one of the most well-known and reoccurring anomalies, we have the tourist. Often seen in groups are crash dummies, which are basically weeping angels that explode. Whenever you don't look at them, they will move, but only sometimes, which I think adds to the effect. You see a big group of tourists, and you cannot look at them, and nothing will happen. But after a while, one of them might start moving towards you while you're looking for resources. But they are really easy to avoid. Just walk away, it's not that hard.
Meow, fuck out the way.
There are a bunch of more anomalies in the zone, but their stuff is like a small area of lightning, or a floating rock, or literally just the wind. In order to leave the zone, you have to find these stability anchors around the map. These are little balls you can feed to your arc device in your car to charge it. But after doing so, the anomalies in the area become more hostile. After collecting enough arc energy, you can open a gateway back to the garage, before the storm rapidly closes in and you have to drive into the giant beacon in a matter of minutes. I know that's a lot of information, so in Fortnite terms, you have to collect loot around the map to summon a rift and drive your battle bus into it to take you back to the lobby, before the Fortnite storm closes in and the squad wipes you. Back at the garage, you can use your arc energy to unlock new stuff from the tech tree that ranges from parts of your car, tools to help you progress, and just random stuff for your garage like a basketball hoop. There's also fun things to do in the garage, like fix up your car, give your car back shots.
Bobby was right. There's still so much.
Or give yourself brain damage by slamming your head in the trunk.
I fucking slammed the car door on my head. That's crazy. Let me do it again. What if I just gave my car back shots?
After doing some miscellaneous tasks, Oppie sends you to Serum, a destroyed town with a giant ball of energy in the middle, called Cappy. Also, a little lore tidbit, Cappy was created during a science fair, and one of the projects went wrong and caused the giant ball of energy in town, killing everyone there. Oppie wants you to get closer to Cappy to amplify the car's signal. You can't get close enough, so Oppie tells you just to drive into the ball of energy, and it might only kill you.
Oppie, anytime now, Oppie.
Ophelia, my love, is that you? The giant ball of lightning, Oppie's husband. Oh shit. About now, you'll probably have upgraded your car from crude materials to steel, making it stronger and not look like you got it off Facebook Marketplace.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the
And in order to repair your car, you have Repair Putty, which is you just smacking a big glob of cum onto your car. There's also tons of spray paints and stickers you can find to customize your car, and for some reason I spray painted my car in neon green.
That boy had pulled up in a Hulk machine. That boy had pulled up.
While doing some exploring, you hear Francis and Oppie talk about the mass hallucination. You learn about the mass hallucination was an event that happened in the Deep Zone and caused all the anomalies and the weirdness to spread, with the mass hallucination killing tons of people, including Oppie's husband. After doing some chores of linking stability towers, you can now cross into the next zone, the mid zone. And yes, it lives up to its name because this zone is mid. Getting through the wall is kind of fun. I really like seeing what's inside the wall, looking straight up to see how high it goes, and in some parts it almost looks like a forest, with the support pillars looking like trees. Upon getting to the other side, Oppie's signal cuts out, and now you're mainly stuck with Tobias and Francis.
Hello, friend. Welcome to our side of the wall. Oh, what's this? Your connection to Oppie is jammed? Worry not. Our signal is crystal clear.
A little bit obvious, don't you think?
Right, ask me if I care. Yeah, the mid-zone's been marinating in all this radiation for so long. Things don't work the same as they do in the outer zone. But the good news is, we live here. We can help you, no sweat.
First things first, we've got to extend the signal from the garage. Otherwise, Oppie's equipment won't be much help. Hooking you into a mid-zone stabilizer should do the trick. Look around. You should be able to see one up a hill somewhere.
Also, this is probably a good time to talk about the biomes in the game. Each zone has two biomes in it, with the outer zone having woods and more woods. The mid zone has the mire, which is basically a big radioactive swamp, and the scorch, which is a biome of burnt landscape and dead trees. And I'll talk about the biomes in the deep zone when we get there later. Oh, and also sometimes zones can be unstable and can mean rougher weather conditions and have harder modifiers like eerie darkness, which even during the daytime it's pitch black, or simpler stuff like your engine will burn more fuel. You now arrive in the swamp. Device gives you the location to go to. He tells you to go scan graffiti called the Visions, and scanning these visions somehow tells you where the mass hallucination takes place. Back at the garage, Oppie tells you to go to the secret facility to find out what happened at the facility. The facility is in the Scorch part of the mid zone, and I know each run is different, but I think the Scorch is way easier than the swamp. After scouring through the lab, you find out that there were some shady things going on behind the scenes, and now it's time to go into the deep zone. But first, we're going to talk about car upgrades in this section and the anomalies. There's tons of different car upgrades, but I'm mainly going to talk about the more important ones, or the ones I used. The main problem as the game goes on and longer trips is the gas tank and the battery. I never found an issue with the gas tank, as you can refuel it at gas stations or other cars you find on the road. But my battery would die almost every single run, which is where the wind turbine comes in. There's a bunch of different solutions, like a battery that can be charged by the rain, or driving in water, or just putting an extra battery on the side of your car. But I found to be best, and probably cheapest, is the wind turbine, which charges when it's windy outside or if you drive really fast.
Good job, homie. Got it right. Oh, shit!
With the wind turbine, my car never drained at all, and I just use that for the rest of the game. There are a bunch of different tires in this game, and a lot of them are cool, like paddle tires that are designed for driving in water, or power grip tires that are designed for not losing traction, but I never found myself progressing past the off-road tires, as it wasn't really necessary, but I'll talk more about that later. Probably the most important thing in this game is the different panels and doors you can unlock for your car. And my biggest problem is, unless you are drunk driving and crashing into everything,
Fuck it, we're going off-roading. Let's hit it. Oh shit!
a lot of these upgrades are useless, as I beat the game using random car parts I pulled off of other cars and never found myself crafting any. There are armored panels which protect against crashing and explosive damage, lead-plated armor which protects against radiation, insulated armor which protects against lightning, and some anti-corrosive armor later in the game protecting against acid. And the biggest problem is these car parts make your car look super cool, and I really wanted to get all of them, but they're not worth getting. What's the point in spending your resources and decking out your car with the expensive armor when I could literally just drive around the area of lightning or the area of radiation and save my car the trouble? Now, I know you always can't drive around them, but I never found it that serious to where I need the armor. As a matter of fact, I never found the game that hard at all, as I didn't die a single time in my playthrough. But moving on to the headlights. There's a bunch of headlights which are kind of pointless due to one set of headlights, the bio headlights. This is the equivalent to decking out your BMW with LED headlights and blinding every anomaly you see. I know there's tons of upgrades and some will come later, I just found that there are so many upgrades that are just useless or just too expensive to even bother with. With the outer zone anomalies being a mild annoyance, the anomalies in the mid zone will touch you. A lot of the anomalies in this zone are just reskinned versions of the outer zone, but a little different, or just the same anomalies brought over. We have the bubblegum buddies, which if you drive by them, they will just take a piece of your car. So now you're stuck getting it back or losing a valuable piece. The other notable anomaly is the belching barnacle, which will just erupt acid everywhere, and that's basically it. There's some other anomalies, but it's just kind of like, oh look, it's a cloud of corrosive gas. Just drive around it, and that's basically it for the most part. Back to the story. Oppie tells you that you need to get a limb shield to get through the next border, and it's super dangerous. And you're also going to need to drive super fast and power the checkpoint to open it. But before we get to the border crossing, we have to talk about the quirks. Now, your car can get a little quirky at some times, and pick up random quirks as you progress through the game. Now, quirks are just little wacky things your car will start doing. For example, every time I put my car in park, my front door would open. Or every time I turn on my headlight, my radio would turn on. You can do a little puzzle minigame of finding out what the problem is and trying to solve it in the terminal, which can be kind of fun, but there's so many options to choose from to where I know my car is opening the door every time I put in park, but I still found it a little weird to nail it perfectly. A lot of these quirks are not very noticeable because at the end of the game, I racked up tons of the quirks and couldn't even find out what the problem was. It wasn't even noticeable. But some are just god awful. On my way to the deep zone border crossing, I found out my car thought it'd be funny, so every time I turned the headlights, my car would constantly brake. So now I'm forced to abandon the trip and lose some stuff, or do the crossing in the dark with no headlights on. Upon reaching the deep zone crossing, you will notice that this place is messed up, looking like the aftermath of a nuclear bomb went off, and ruined structures covered in ash everywhere. Oh, and also my tire blew out, so I now have to do the whole thing with a spare tire. Now it's time to drive the car quickly through the checkpoints with the shield on, as the road is covered in anomalies that will destroy your tires. And the shield drains your power pretty quickly, but thanks to my car, I wasn't even using the headlights in the first place. But thanks to my car not wanting to use the headlights and the wind turbines, that really wasn't a problem at all. While doing the checkpoint, it doesn't go quite to plan, and I'm just gonna let this part play out.
And I found 6 cores overloaded. I mean, it's shutting down. We can't lose the remnant. I won't let it go.
Get back inside! The radiation's peaking!
I've got to repair it. I'll be damned if I'm gonna let this plan fail. We're too close. Your theory. We can still prove it.
Stop! It's too dangerous out there! Tobias! Please, Tobias, come back! Tobias, please! Tobias, please, come back!
Let the battery fall. The fuse box is completely liquefied, but I can bypass it.
Francis, I need you back at the control board.
Not now, Oppie!
The minute Tobias reroutes that line, you need to push the connection. Miss it by a split second and we lose the entire power grid.
Almost ready.
Please don't do this!
Francis, it's now or never.
I'm rerouting the grid now. I'll be ready for you.
Give us the signal, Tobias. Tobias? Stay with us.
Got you, Hoppy. Friends. Well, what do you know? One time, I tried myself out at things to say. Hoppy, take care of him for me.
Tobias!
Francis, I love you forever. I love you forever.
Power's back online. Francis, now!
Tobias, answer! Tobias, answering!
Don't do it. You can't go out there. Driver, the power's holding steady. You could open that final gate.
Yep, Tobias is dead, and is probably also gay.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
In all honesty, the deep zone is pretty tame. Aside from the hell that was the crossing, the normal deep zone is really easy, and I would finish the rest of the game in only 2 hours. The mission for this section is just to explore and do the exact same thing you did with the crossing. Just drive around the map and link the gateways, which I thought was kind of lazy, with the bulk of the time being spent actually driving to the destination, only to spend a few minutes actually doing the mission. And after that, it was time to go into the well, the location of the mass hallucination event. I couldn't believe I was already at the end of the game. There was so much stuff I didn't even get to unlock or do yet. And I know I could just go and do that, but what's the point if the end of the game is just right here? Oppie tells you that you're gonna have to gear up for the drive, and I was expecting this to be the hardest part of the game where I would finally get stuck on and be forced to upgrade my car, which wasn't the case at all because the drive there was completely peaceful, and then I actually got to the well and it was as simple as driving in. I'm gonna let this part play out, but if you don't care, here's a timestamp to skip it.
Hoppy? Hoppy!
Did it work? What's the energy output? God damn it, Alan, I'm fine. Light nearly blinded me. Can you read it?
Yeah, let me see. 500 kilojoules? Hoppy, what is this?
The future. I call it limb waves.
Coffee delivery.
Alan, gosh. Is it that time already?
So, about leaving Arda. I was thinking, how about by Christmas?
Yes, maybe. I just need to solve this instability issue. I loathe to think about leaving the Olympic Peninsula like this.
There's always more to do.
I know. I'm sorry.
And I love you for it. I'm just wondering if you'll really be able to walk away from all this. It's okay if you can't.
You abandoned the world to work here beside me. Fair is fair.
Len Tech is a world-changing discovery. Your world-changing discovery. Ernest isn't even a consideration.
We agreed to have children, and I'm not having them in this hellhole.
Good, because I'd love to have 8.
Then I hope you're ready to carry at least half of those yourself.
I love you.
I love you.
Tobias, the movers are here. Wait, why aren't you packed?
I ain't going.
The evacuation orders.
Evacuation orders can go to hell. We leave, and we never see the inside of these walls again. All the things we've been investigating, the ripple, the echoes from the swamp, they'll all fade away. I'm gonna stay and chase down these stories, wherever they take me.
Tobias,
Stay here. With me.
You here to quote?
I'm here to deliver the committee's decision. You have been found guilty of doctoring experimental data. This action is in clear violation of artist scientific integrity. Judgment has been rendered. You may stay and work, but your clearance will be lowered to level 3.
So I'm to be a glorified flash cleaner.
Take it as a win. You could have been court-martialed instead.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have liked that much better.
What I like has no bearing on this decision. See you on Monday, Dr. Cook.
Driver, do you read me?
Driver, you passed through some sort of opening. We managed to hold it steady, but the energy expulsion is growing. We don't have much longer.
If you can hear this, you need to get back now.
Hey, look! The gang's back together!
Tobias?
I never told you how grateful I was that you stayed behind in the zone. With me. These years, best of my life. Foraging for mushrooms, slogging through swamplands, combing through hours and hours of terrible field recordings. Not a single moment wasted. Thank you. For everything.
It was all you. You made me feel capable. That anything was possible. That I wasn't some second-rate scientist. All my happiness was thanks to you. And I'm afraid of how I'll survive without you.
I'm not. You got this. You always have. Hey, Oppie. Alan sends his regards. He wants to know why you haven't taken his advice yet. Bye. Until next time.
Tobias? Tobias!
Driver, if you can hear this, we can't keep the well stable for much longer. Wherever you are, come back.
After the backstory of Oppie and Alan, and the reason why Oppie and Francis don't get along, you have to drive your car out of there really quickly. While doing this, I kept sliding around and would realize that I still had the spare tire on since the border crossing 2 hours ago. After you are berated by giant pillars falling from the sky, you can now drive your car into the giant beam of light, and due to my spare tire, I unintentionally slid sideways into the beam of light.
You made it back, driver. All in one piece, it looks like.
And no sign of the Remnant's energy signature anywhere in that car. You're free.
But the car's maintained its link to you. Fascinating. We'll never know how far the Remnant's obsessions wormed into your head, but you should be safe from it getting any worse. In theory.
Oppie, I'm sorry. You didn't get to talk to Alan again.
We managed to pull off the near impossible. And the first thing you do is apologize?
Sorry.
Don't worry, it was Tobias's fault. He hogged the frequency all for himself yet again.
You heard him too.
I did. That means I didn't imagine that last conversation with Alan. And you know what else?
What?
That your theory was right. And Tobias called it. All that bluster, and he ended up showing us scientists a thing or two. Those moments we heard, they were all from the past. Being inside that well somehow allowed the remnant to access those imprints and replay them. But Tobias's voice wasn't from the past, it was from somewhere else entirely.
But where? And how?
No clue. Do me a favor. Once you figure it out, don't bother telling me. I'm leaving the zone.
I'm sorry, what?
Alan came to tell me goodbye, and that I was forgiven 37 years ago. I didn't listen. So now, finally, I'm going to take his advice. I should have left the zone a long time ago.
But if we solve this, maybe there's a way to speak to him again.
I heard what I needed to hear. It only took me 37 years to listen. Anyway, all that sounds like a young scientist game. It's not for me anymore. Francis, you decide what to do from here. You can carry the torch and continue the research, or get out of this cursed place and find your own way. It's your decision. And driver, you're free now. You can do what you want from here. But if you'll allow an old woman one last hope, stay here with Francis. There's so many more stories for the zone to tell. And the both of you are young enough to listen. My ears are bad. And I refuse to hear them. I've removed all access restrictions to my systems, Francis. The helm is yours.
Wait, I don't know if I can do this alone.
You're not alone. You've got clear eyes, ears open to the impossible, and the driver. Dr. Cook. Driver. It's been a pleasure. This is Dr. Ophelia Turner. Signing off.
Abby? Abby! Really? Well, driver, if you don't mind sticking around with me, Abby was right. There's still so much of the zone that we still don't know about. But with your help, we can tell those stories. I'm no Abby, but I'll do the best I can. You're no longer bound to the car. But it stayed with you, and will continue to protect you as you travel the zone. Go on, then. As long as you're willing to drive, I'm along for the ride.
Yep, that's the end of the game. Oppie leaves, Tobias is dead, and now Francis is left and will talk to you occasionally in the garage. I kind of wish you had the option to leave the zone, as that's the point of the game, is to get out of there, but I get to where you can still do runs and explore after the main story is finished. Okay, now we can talk about the anomalies in the deep zone. And there's really only two notable anomalies in the deep zone. And that's the tour bus, which is a giant cluster of tourists, and when you hit it with your car, it makes a big explosion. And the devil grinder, which when you drive on it, it will just completely mess up your car. The two biomes for the deep zone are the smokestacks that are covered in ash and look like a bomb hit it, and the other biome is the red spires, and it looks like this. I don't know how to explain it. It just looks like this. The game just has too much grind that's just kind of pointless in the end. Another problem I have is that this game has so much potential to be scary, but doesn't do it at all. The atmosphere is perfect for them to add something to the game that can stalk you or chase after your car. I know there's anomalies and stuff, but they're practically harmless. They don't really do anything. They don't follow you around or do anything like horrible to your car. I just really think the game could just be a lot better if they leaned more into the horror aspect. There is a Bigfoot Easter egg where you can briefly see a silhouette of Bigfoot walking around, and to be honest, I thought it was fake at first until I saw multiple sightings because it just looks so fake. It looks not real. I thought it was a hoax. I feel like the game would just benefit a lot more if they just leaned into the horror aspect and just cut out a lot of the pointless grind, or at least made things cheaper to make. I had storage lockers full of stuff and didn't lose any items due to death, and I still found myself missing materials to craft stuff. But overall, I really liked this game. I thought it was really fun to play, just to drive around and tumble down a mountain because I wanted to see what would happen. Also, the internet says that this game takes 20 hours to beat and 40 hours to complete everything, and I beat the whole thing in less than 12 hours. And it's no problem because the game was only $30 and I still had a lot of fun playing it. I think it's well worth the money, even though I bitched for the last 10 minutes about it. I think it's really fun. I would honestly rank this game an 8 out of 10. I think it's missing some things, but overall the game is beautiful and just fun to drive around and explore the zone. And yeah, there's so much lore about the game. There's over like 600 pieces of like lore information you can collect. And to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to talk about that. But if this game gets like 1,000 likes or something, I will make a whole like hour-long deep dive on all the lore and history of this game, because I don't think a single other YouTuber has made that yet. But anyways, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the video till the end. If you haven't already, please subscribe and let me know in the comments if you like this kind of content. But anyways, I hope to see you guys in the next video.